Hello and welcome to the CanesWear podcast on Thursday, March 26th. And this is the second day of spring practice, and we couldn't be more excited to be here. Lots of great things going on. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button for CanesWear, our brand new CanesWear TV YouTube channel, where we'll have plenty of programs like the CanesWear podcast and much more. So we're really excited to be with you. Like and subscribe. Remember, brought to you by CanesWear, the Spot Miami Fan Shop. Lots of good things right now happening in the store. Lots of great things going to be coming on as well. And so we're excited to have you all on this new channel. It's been doing great. I know I'm speaking for Gio, myself, and Mondo, who will be back next week. We are so excited for all the great things that are going to be going on with the Canes and with the channel. And remember, bring your questions, and we'll try to get to every question. There's a new guy named Juan Manuel. He may throw in a question or two, so we'll have them today as well. So without any further ado, we're going to bring on the one, the only, the legend himself, young Gio. How we doing, Gio?
Doing great. 2 days through spring practice. There's another practice tomorrow. It is not open to media, so there is no viewing session. And there is practice Saturday. We'll see what we are given or what not. But I think it's, look, like I said on the previous show on Tuesday, there's only so much you could take away from the first couple of days. There's no pads, shirts and shorts, very light work stuff, but you can get a general idea of the athleticism, the size of players, kind of where everyone is at with their progression within the program itself. So I think all very encouraging stuff. I'm very optimistic about this team, actually. I think they're more talented and deeper at certain positions. Yes, there's going to be question marks at offensive line, but they have an entire spring to work it out.
Absolutely. It's exciting times. Great finish to last year. I mean, back-to-back 10-win seasons. That last year was even better. And the amount of recruits we're getting in right now, and the excitement of the team with the guys we've got from the portal. I mean, there's not been this exciting a time to be a Canes fan since the national championship days, I would say. As a fan, this is as good as it gets. And I would say anticipation is so important in life. You know, don't only play the result. We got to the championship game, we lost, but enjoy the moments. Enjoy that run of the championship. When we got into the, you know, we know how excited everybody got when we saw the orange and green flash up, Gio. And everybody remembers where they were when they announced us as the team that was in there, because most of us thought it wasn't going to happen. And then we get by Texas A&M. We get by Ohio State. We get by Old Mississippi. And then we, you know, almost win the Indiana game. I mean, it was just hairs of difference. So enjoy the moment. As someone who's been around a little bit longer than a lot of people, enjoy the moment. Enjoy what's going on. Don't only play the result. Life is short. Enjoy the run. And right now, Canes Fever, we've all been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah. So without further ado, I know most of what everyone is here for is to hear what's going on at each position. Mind you, I just want to preface all this by saying that if I don't mention a player, doesn't mean that the player is doing bad or anything like that. There are some guys that are nicked up. I'm not going to get into detail on that. Just it's nothing too vastly serious at this point, but I do think there are some interesting developments early on in camp. To get right into it, quarterback in itself, Brett. So at least what I've noticed in the first 2 days, Darian Mensah is as advertised. I like how accurate he is throwing down the field. I've spoken to some people that have seen some of the more private portions of practice that we don't get to watch as media. He's good. He's very good. And things are clicking very well. And as a matter of fact, I would say from a chemistry standpoint, him and Vandrevius Jacobs they're on a really good pace right now. I know it's super early in camp, but I mentioned this after day one. I do think Vandrevius Jacobs is going to be someone that fans really like from the receiver room this year. I know fans want those big, flashy, explosive plays. I think he's going to give Miami plenty of that this year going vertical. He has a really good rapport already with Malachi Toney. The two worked together a lot during the offseason. Cooper Barkate, by the way, I know I'm on the discussion of quarterbacks, and I'll discuss Barcape more in a bit, but he's a veteran. He's a pro with the way that he approaches everything. And the biggest thing to me with Barcade, I always say this: yes, he might not be the most flashiest guy, or all the discourse that some Hurricane fans started saying. Oh, but maybe his athleticism might be a problem. He's plenty athletic enough. He's going to be really good here. He's going to be really good. I have no question in my mind if he's going to start or not. I do think he'll start. It's just kind of figuring out what the rest of the pecking order is from 3 on down, the rest of that receiver room. But Darian Mintz has been very good early on. Biggest thing is the downfield passes. I feel like that really sticks out. And even some of the intermediate routes as well that he's connected on with guys like Barcade and Tony, and even Elijah Lofton has had some moments too with him. And then the other guys, I think Darion Coleman, obviously the arm talent, very impressive. It's obvious, you could see it. But like I said from day one, I felt like kind of goes through his progressions a little slow, which is fine. He just got here. And today was a little up and down for him. That's totally fine. He's only 2 practices into his career. I think if I told people that Ruben Bain had some struggles early on when he first got to Miami, people wouldn't believe that when you consider it's probably a top 5 pick in a few weeks from now. So just, you got to let players progress and go through the motions as if they first arrive. Not everyone's going to be ready immediately out the gate. Luke Nickel, very steady through the first 2 days. I think Judd Anderson, from what I was told, he had a little bit of a better day today. Didn't get to see so much in terms of like the media portion, but when it came to when they went outside, I had heard that he had done a little bit better today. So quarterback is solid. I mean, obviously you hope they could figure out who would be their backup, but I think that competition is going to drag well into fall ball.
You'd mentioned Cooper Parquet, the athleticism. We've been hearing that for years with guys in the NFL, in college. Is he athletic enough? Is he athletic not? If it was only great athletes that were great receivers, it'd be a whole different game. There's been plenty of great athletes that have not excelled. There's been plenty of guys that are not as upper tier. I mean, even a guy like Michael Irvin ran a 4.5. Eddie Brown, who was one of the first great receivers for the first national championship, ran between a 4.5 and a 4.7. He played for the Bengals in the NFL for like 7 years. I mean, quite a few players that have not had the takeaway speed, the breakaway speed. Obviously, Julian Edelman was the MVP in a Super Bowl. We saw Braxton Berrios here, who has obviously had good speed. But we've had, like you said, Wesley Carroll. So quite a few guys that were not stud athletes, number one, in the high jump, number one in the vertical leap, but they're in 40, but they're excellent receivers.
Yeah, I think, like I said, day one, he has a great understanding of leverage when it comes to playing as a wide receiver, knows how to use his body and box out a defensive back to come up with contested catches. I think he's a very savvy route runner too. I always feel that sometimes fans get caught up in the whole thing with receivers, like, oh, well, he's got to be super fast and this and that or whatever. Being super fast is not everything for a wide receiver. You see this in the NFL every day. You even see it in college too. As a matter of fact, Malachi Tony's really explosive, but as far as I know at this point, Malachi Tony's not a 4.3 guy. It's the other attributes that really stand out for him. It's just, how agile he is too, how he's able to keep up at top speed, still shifting direction. It's not like he's the fastest guy in a straight line. So there's a lot of things that go into making a great wide receiver. And I've mentioned this throughout the entire offseason since Miami had signed Cooper Parquet. And it's funny enough, David Hale from ESPN, who covers the Atlantic Coast Conference with their coverage from the ESPN, he mentioned today that Cooper Parquet and Malachi Tony are 2 of only, I think it's 5 receivers returning to the Power 4 this season that had 1,000 yards this past season. I've got over and over again, even in terms of total production, just yards itself, it went in this order: Jeremiah Smith, Malachi Tony, Cooper Parquet. and then it was Deuce Robinson, and then the other guy that I'm forgetting. KJ Duff at Rutgers, who he was really interested in coming to Miami out of high school, but that's a story for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, look, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Some of the discourse. I've seen certain posts on Twitter, people saying like, "Oh, it doesn't look that explosive." I think people need to stop. I said it the other day too, Brett. I think if I had to make a comparison, kind of who he reminds me of, Eric Decker, who played for Minnesota in college and played for the Broncos in the NFL and was a really good NFL receiver. He nabbed a couple 1,000-yard receivers in the 1,000-yard seasons in the league. So I like Cooper Barkate. I bought stock in on him. I bought stock in on Vandrevius Jacobs. I know Cam Vaughn has had a nice couple of days too. There's a nice connection there between him and Dario Mensah early on. And the freshman receivers, we'll jump to running backs in a bit because it's very hard to get an entire grasp on running backs at this point of camp because there's not much contact. It's just very procedural drills that they're going through. But on the wide receivers, you can get a really good idea early on. Of the true freshman group, in my opinion, I think 2 of those 4 guys can help Miami this year, whether it's rotation or they start at some point or whatever the scenario is. But I think Samarian Wingo and Vance Spafford could help Miami this year in certain spots. If they just need a spark really quick, they come in and rotate, give a couple guys some breathers during some games. Those 2 can play. I think they're prepared, Samarian Wingo especially. But Vance Spafford, I think he kind of became the forgotten man with the receiver class because like there was so much hype behind him when he committed to Miami, which was like it was like around last July or August. That his senior year he got hurt. You didn't hear a lot about him since then, but super fast, Brett. I mentioned this day one that him and Vandrevius Jacobs, arguably 2 of the fastest guys on the entire team, and just from a route running perspective, there's certain things I've seen that have really impressed me with him. I want to see how consistent he is with catching the ball, especially like in like what I call live bullet situations when players put on the pads and start hitting and popping and everything. Does that hold up? But I really like what I've seen from those 2. Mylan Paris, the physical traits are all there. I just think it's more refinement. Has to get better as a route runner. Same story with Tyron Evans, really big guy as well for receiver, but just needs work on the footwork as well and everything. Just minor little things that, and I think he still needs to get a little bigger too for his position, like in the frame that he has. But Mylan Paris does have impressive physical traits though, and some of that's kind of flashed early on in camp. But overall, Brett, I like where the receiver room is at. I like the depth that they have. I think it's a deep room. And I didn't even talk about a guy like Dalen Upshaw, who he's gotten a little bit thicker from last year. He's put on some muscle. The description I've gotten on him, like just asking about him, is most people feel that, maybe a little similar to the type of game that Jacoby George had at Miami, but Upshaw is bigger. Actually, he's a bigger guy, much stronger than Jacoby George was. So kind of it's similar type of game.
Well. Last year, obviously, we had 4 receivers, right? We had obviously Malachi, we had CJ Daniels, we had Keelan Marion. Who was the 4th receiver? Was it basically Jackson Moore? Tony Johnson would get in the mix. But there was nobody that excelled. So really, we're missing right now. We're missing CJ Daniels and Keelan Marion. So who's going to take their places? Is I guess, and hopefully we go 4 deep. Because we really were 3. Well, I know we went to Marion. We went to Johnson a little bit at the beginning of the season. We went to Joshua Moore against USF when he had the 2 touchdowns. So we went to different players. But is there going to be a 4th guy that excels? And is the 2nd guy going to be Barkate this year? And is the 3rd guy going to be Joshua Moore? Is it going to be somebody else?
If you ask my opinion early on, and from what I've seen, and then
hello and welcome to CanesWear
little bit that has been shared with me. Yeah, I heard the playback.
I don't know what happened. It popped up.
That's funny. I heard your voice.
Exactly.
But staying on track here, though. So I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, obviously everyone expects Malachi Tony to have another big year. That should be the expectation. He's put on some muscle from last year, still explosive. However, Cooper Barcade, obviously the connection that he has with Mensa coming in. I think that third receiver, like what would likely be the X receiver position, because Barcade's playing a lot of Z early on, Malachi obviously in the slot. You're going to have a mixture of guys there. Honestly, I think so. I think Joshua Moore can play in that spot. I think Vandrevius Jacobs could play in that spot. Cam Vaughn can do so as well. Cam Vaughn could also play at the Z as well. Jacobs can too. So if you asked me, like, early on from what I've seen, I think Vandrevius Jacobs is maybe a little higher ceiling as a deep threat than even what Keelan Marion was. But I think if you're talking about just a pure ceiling perspective, like if you're hoping that a guy really breaks through, I think Miami would love to have Joshua Moore take that next step this offseason. Like, just the way they view him internally, like just the type of talent they think he is, even what Kevin Beard thinks of him. They think the world of what he can be. So if he can put it all together, I think that should be the guy. But again, potential is a scary word. It has to be all put together. You have to make sure it's consistent too. That was one of the biggest things with Joshua Moore last year is, a lot of people asked, why didn't he play more? He should get on the field more and everything. It was just little things like that, just consistency, getting better as a route runner too. He had a little bit of an injury during the middle of the season last year too that kind of held him out a bit. Just from a pure potential standpoint, you would hope it would be Joshua Moore, but I think, again, don't hold a gun to my head on this because we're only 2 days through spring camp, but Vandrevius Jacobs looks really good early on, and Cam Vaughn's definitely making his case too. So I do think, though, that there's going to be a committee of sorts after guys like Tony and Barkett. I think there will be a healthy rotation. I think Miami kind of learned that process as well during the season where, it seemed like for a few games where they were just kind of locked in and like, all right, we're just going to play Tony, we're going to play Daniels, we're going to play Marion, and we don't really got to go to the other guys. And I think that was a wrong approach. I think sometimes you got to keep a defense honest and give them different looks. And I think as well with the makeup of this roster that Miami has, they have different body types and skill sets in that receiver room. I think a healthy rotation of 5 to 6 guys that actually play in a game is really good. Obviously, you have your starters, but you need to give different looks to opposing defenses.
Just to let you know, in the tournament where obviously the Canes went to number 32, great season for Jay Lucas and the new Canes. Iowa advanced to the Elite Eight, beating Nebraska. So we got a 9 seed in the Elite Eight right now in Iowa, who's never been there. And Purdue is hanging on right now at 75-73 over Texas, 75-74. So you know what? Exciting season for the Canes basketball team. I know we're talking football, but you got to give those guys all the props in the world. You got to feel we're in really, really good hands with Coach Lucas.
Yeah, look, right now as it stands, they're going to lose 3 veteran guys that they just brought in through the portal this past season, like Renew, Donaldson, Uday. I do think, though, I'm a pretty firm believer in what Jay Lucas has done from a talent acquisition standpoint, especially that he had no players on that roster at this time last year and was able to construct that, tie the regular season win record at Miami in his first year, make the tournament, win a game in the tournament. I think as a fan, you have to be excited for what's next to come. But I think from a talent acquisition standpoint, I think he's shown that he knows what he's doing because do all that as a first-year coach and bring in 15 new guys and make it work.
Oh, that's spectacular.
He has to know a thing or two as a coach. Honestly, That's a little difficult.
To mesh guys together for the first time ever. And you could have a good season where we won 25 in the regular season,
Yeah.
24. Then we won one in the ACC tournament, which a lot of times, team has a good season, fizzles out in the ACC tournament, but they won one, and they got the semifinals, and then we won one in the tournament. So, those are the tough games to win after a good season. So we proved it wasn't like we just went out with a flash and a bang. We won in each in the NCAA tournament and in the ACC tournament. Similar to football, when Mario, people said, okay, we got in the tournament. Some people were like, let's just win one game. And we won that game. Then Ohio State, it was a good season. It'd be great to beat them. But if we don't beat them, it was still a great season. Let's just be in the game. Because a lot of people thought we were going to, and then we win that game. So, it's like those steps are huge for the team. And for the Hurricane football team, we know not only was it great for the players and for the coach, but it was also great for the kids like Jackson Cantwell that could practice with them. That was a huge step. Those guys, they have such an advantage for playing in those and practicing in those tournament games.
That was phenomenal reps for guys like that, like Cantwell, for JJ Dunnigan and Samarian Wingo. These are freshmen that are standing out early on right now. I think it paid dividends for those guys to get that head started and get ahead of the curve early on. But
totally. I mean, it was a great thing for us. Just, they used to say, why play in a bowl game? Like Notre Dame passed on the bowl game because your kids get to play, about 30 extra days, 20 extra days of practice, right? The kid now, we went that far. They got all this extra time. So it's just you keep on getting advantage after advantage by playing. That's why I thought the Notre Dame thing was terrible. Okay, we don't care about next season, the young guys. Don't let them be part of this thing. Let's just go ahead and pout. As Jeremiah Love says in the combine, all I know is I hate Miami. My best play of the year was one that was called back against Miami. I mean, he's got Miami in the brain.
Yeah, Miami lives rent-free, and Jeremiah loves that.
Rent-free, baby. I like that line.
Mr. 33. But on to other things, though. With the tight ends, real quick note on that. Obviously, Cole McConaughey has moved there over this offseason. Jackson Carver back from the injury now and everything. But the biggest thing to me that continues to stick out, Elijah Lofton stays consistent throughout practice. I know when people hear that, they start covering their ears like, oh, la, 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 la. I hope he does it in games and everything. I get it, how it feel. But it is a fact that he does remain consistent in practice. The other thing, the two freshmen that came in, I think Miami has something with those two guys and Gavin Mueller and Israel Briggs. I think Israel Briggs is still a little bit raw and like may need to continue putting on more size. He has put on size since he arrived, but I think he's still got to get like just functionally stronger so he can play through contact more. But the athletic traits with Briggs really stand out. I said it the last time on here. I think he's like the most fluid athlete of those guys, almost like a pseudo wide receiver playing tight end. But Gavin Mueller, the movement skills on that guy for being 6'6", over 250 pounds, if it all clicks together when the pads come on, I could see Miami trying to fast track him to get him on the field this year. But I think the guy he'll likely be competing with most will be Luka Gilbert, who's returning this year. That, maybe not as agile as Mueller is, or like the same type of athlete, but definitely a vertical threat. Like when he's like running with steam downfield, and you give him those opportunities for a jump ball, he can win those. He's shown that in practice. So I'm really interested to watch who is the second tight end that emerges. And the two guys I'm watching early on is Luka Gilbert and Gavin Mueller, how that competition goes throughout the offseason. But last note, too, the running backs, like I said before, there's not much you could take away from it. There's no contact right now. It's very procedural drills for those guys. But Mark Fletcher in great shape. Jordan Lyle, he's healthy. Shamar Brown looks to have leaned up a bit, to be honest with you. I mentioned the other day that Javian Mallory looks like he's in really good shape as well. Like he's reshaped his body since he arrived. Some people felt like maybe it was a little too heavy coming out of high school. He looks really good right now. But there's not too much you could take away from the running back room right now. But however, offensive line, like I've said before, there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching, but Jackson Cantwell, the one early return that I can give, and this is coming from people that have watched the private portions, that he can move. For a guy that's 6'7", 315 plus pounds, he can move. He has the movement skills. He has the ability and the footwork to be able to play at left tackle. Now, obviously, you want to see that hold up when the pads come on. It is a baptism by fire approach that they're taking here. They have Matthew McCoy taking a bunch of the reps at right tackle, but I am curious, Brett. It's a lot of pressure because, you know, everyone points back to like how Francis Mauanoa played on the offensive line in Mario's second year at right tackle. He never ended up moving to the left side. He always stayed at the right throughout his entire career. But left tackles, it's a really big responsibility. They're the blind side for Darian Mensah. He is a true freshman. I do think, however, that Jackson Cantwell does not get enough credit for the type of athlete that he is. Just both parents being Olympians and what he's done himself aside from the football field. Like, I've seen some discourse from people, even with him coming in, people saying that, oh, you know, he looks maybe a little stiff or, you know, kind of like cinder block feet. No, he can move. He can move. And to me, it's just, what is the physicality like when the pads come on? When guys start trying to shove him around, can he handle that? If he can, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. And Miami could have another freshman All-American on their hands if he could hold up in terms of physicality. But the other guy I want to highlight, Max Buchanan. I've been talking about this guy the entire offseason. He's going to be a dude. He's going to be a dude this year. Brett, when people have asked me, oh, who do I think is going to start on the offensive line this year? He's one of the names I've always brought up. I think he's going to win one of the guard positions this offseason. I think you could, yes, I think you could see him starting opposite of Samson Okunlola. I think Ryan Rodriguez does not get enough respect from fans. He's played a lot of snaps here. If you pay attention closely, he's been brought in as a reserve lineman in different packages for the past 2 years. He is competing at center. SJ Alofituli is getting some reps at guard, splitting time at center as well. You know, I don't want to go too deep into the offensive line, but some other promising things there as well. I've mentioned before spring even started, Ben Congdon was a guy that was really accelerating in the strength and conditioning program. That people were really excited about him. He's starting to show some things early on. And Jaden Wilkerson is another I've brought up as well. Just some promising young players in terms of tackles and guys that can play guard that have really opened some eyes. So that's it for the offensive side. Brett, any thoughts about just the early stuff this spring from the offensive side of the ball?
I'm just excited about, obviously, the competition this year on all. I mean, you mentioned Buchanan possibly getting a shot. Ryan Rodriguez, a lot of people, when they give out who's going to be their offensive lineman, a lot of people don't bring up his name. People don't bring up Buchanan's name. All the receivers, who's going to be outside of Malachi and Cooper Barkett? You pretty much, they're penciled in 1-2. Is Joshua Moore going to break out? I mean, Andre Johnson, when he had that great season in 2001, I mean, you didn't really know about him before. So it's not like he excelled because he had the year before. I had Santana Moss and Reggie Wayne there. So he wasn't the guy. So it takes 1 year for these guys to make a season. So it's exciting. Obviously, Willis McGahee in 2002 just popped out of nowhere. He wasn't the guy the year before when it was Clinton Portis and Frank Gore. And Clinton Portis the year before that and James. Or Jackson, I mean. So, it's who's going to step up. Who's now going to say, I'm going to make a difference? And the offense is loaded with talent. And we have possibly the top quarterback in the country. We have excellent receivers, excellent running backs. The offensive side is just, it is exciting as can be right now, what we've got here. One football between probably 10 playmakers or more.
Absolutely. I think the receiver room's deep. That running back room is deep. I do think there is talent at tight end. I think they can get it corrected. Look, Brett, I'll tell you this. There's a lot of emphasis on blocking drills early on, too, for the tight ends. There's been a lot of emphasis on that.
That's great, especially with the new tight end coach. But I didn't mention tight ends. But last year, Lofton, he didn't show up at times, and then he showed up. He made some catches. I remember he dropped a pass. I forgot which game it was.
SMU.
And I said, they're not going to. Who was that again?
What was that? SMU game.
And then he went and caught one later on. So he made up for himself. And I thought, okay, this guy's got to be down. So you don't know, he could come out with a breakout year because, he's back. I think everyone thought that he could be the biggest talent on the team, running the ball, catching the ball. So I think he can improve immensely. That was a sophomore slump that he had, which a lot of players.
Because he flashed a lot as a freshman behind Elijah Arroyo. They also had Cam McCormick that year. But Brett, I could tell you this, because I saw this and several other people in the media can corroborate this, and people that I know who have watched the private portions of practice can corroborate this. Both Jordan Lyle and Elijah Lofton, they were very good, very good leading up into the season. They were expected to have significant roles, and
exactly.
Jordan Lyle, he got hurt. Even when he came back, it just never seemed right. They shut him down near the end of the season. He didn't play again. They shut him down. He stopped dressing out and everything. And Elijah Lofton, it's just never really came together last year. And I know he was dealing with some injury and whatnot, what was discussed, but I'm not ready to give up on those guys, because I always go by this golden rule I have. I think you truly don't know what you have in a player until their third year within your program.
Great, good point. And you don't know. Everyone could have a difficult year during the year, and they just don't. They're nicked up. We don't even know they're nicked up. They're nicked up in a certain way that's even Ruben Bain in his sophomore year was definitely less than spectacular. He got hurt on that first drive against the Gators or so, and he never was himself. Even when he came back, he was not the force. He did not have the explosiveness. So if anyone would have thought that Ruben Bain was going to come back and have the year he had after that second year, I think, most people did not. I was like, which are we going to see? The Ruben Bain in the freshman year or the Ruben Bain in the sophomore year? So that third year is so key, and it takes a lot for a guy to come back. Some people just give up. They're making money anyway. These kids are all getting paid in most cases. You know what? They need to find the fortitude. They need to find the will within to fight and be there. And a guy that does that is going to excel. And we could see a lot of guys this year that we're not even expecting to do great.
Yeah, a ton of people tried to write off even Damari Brown going into last season.
Exactly.
He was healthy for the majority of the beginning of the year. He had a really good season. I could pull up the numbers. It was really good in terms of the metrics and how he was doing in terms of coverage. He was having a great year. And I just think sometimes fans get a little caught up in the moment and they say, oh, this player sucks. I've seen so many people I've seen fans say it oh, Jordan Love sucks, this and that. I'm like,
I see it all the time.
I'm like, what? You were not saying this the prior season. Now all of a sudden you're saying it because things are not going well for him?
As soon as a player gets in bad graces with fans, I've seen players drop a couple of balls and the fans turn.
Oh, you should have seen the comments about
the gang mentality loves to jump on players. Let's go. Who's next? We love him when they sign him. We love him when he has a good game, whoever it is. And then they have a couple of bad games. Who's next? Let's move on.
You should have seen the comments that Philip Dorsett got when he dropped the two touchdowns against Notre Dame. Oh, man, they ripped him. People wanted him to never play in another game.
Exactly. They wanted him
and he still pushed through that.
Uh-huh.
Still finished his career strong, because that was early in his career. Still finished strong, became a first-round pick, and had more than a cup of coffee in the NFL.
Correct. He did. He was a first-round pick. I remember he signed with Adidas, I think, first guy to sign with Adidas for track when he was running the shoes. But happens like a Jimmy Graham. He had a couple of drops against Virginia Tech. Everybody hated him. Then they loved him. They hated the guy that went to the Packers. What was his name? He was a receiver.
Sam Shields.
Quarterback, Sam Shields. They hated Sam Shields. It's like people start hating on a player for no reason. I mean, granted, they had a couple of bad games, but we are all human, and I understand how tied up fans are in the players.
I just want to remind people, Jordan Lyle did not come out as the starting running back when Miami played against Notre Dame just because they felt like it. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Over Mark Fletcher. Correct. They gave him the ball the first set. I was so surprised when he carried the ball in the first set of and then he came back for the second set of downs. I said, what? I couldn't understand that at all.
Yeah, I said it. I think I said it on this very same show. I said it literally leading up to that game. I had said, I heard that Jordan Lyle is having a really good week leading up into the game. And we can, I'll go back and find it in the files and play it over again. But yes. I did say that. So, yeah, I'm looking at those guys, Brett, as like Lofton and Lyle. Can they bounce back? I do think it's possible. It's not. I don't think their time here is done, or that they're for sure passed up. Right? Like I've seen so many people rush to say, "Oh, we need Gavin Mueller to beat out Elijah Lofton." Like, how does everyone know that for sure when Elijah Lofton was really good in both camps? Leading up to last year. So what's to say that if he turns the corner this year? Again, he's doing pretty good in practice right now. So look, I just think there's so many moving parts that it's too early to say like, oh yeah, Gavin Mueller, he'll start over Elijah Lofton. Like fans love to do that. And I think they need to temper expectations when it comes to things like that. So moving on, defensively, because I want to get to some questions here. Like I've shared before, very minimal stuff we can give in terms of the defensive line because there's not a whole ton of work with that right now. However, Justin Scott, Marquise Lightfoot, those two guys specifically, I mentioned before camp opened that there is some internal thoughts on those two that if they take it to the next level, what they're expecting in terms of their development, that these two guys can emerge as serious NFL prospects this year. Really great start to camp for both of those guys. Damon Wilson has also been out there as well. I know some people have the concerns like how is he going to be in terms of run defense and setting the edge. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why he came to Miami to be coached under Jason Taylor. I think fans are also criminal of watching tape from a previous year and not acknowledging the fact that players can evolve from year to year. I think people forget the progression of even Mark Fletcher. You know, the opinions of Mark Fletcher changed a lot from one year to the next. It just in totality when you look at the whole picture of it. So I'm really excited for the potential the defensive line has. Yes, Ahmad Moten's out this spring. Guys like Jarquez Carter and Keona Davis, they're going to get quality snaps this spring. Both of those guys are getting work with that first group. Another guy that really excites people, Hayden Lowe, just from a physical standpoint. He's also gotten some work with special teams as well early on. He's a really good athlete for his size and looks like an NFL prospect right now. And Armando Blunt's always been big. But, again, defensive line, it's very, very minimal that can be discussed on that right now. Until the pads come on, it's very lukewarm, the stuff we could share there. Linebacker, however, Kamal Bonner, I'm buying stock. I'm buying stock on him right now. I like the way he looks now. He looks like a completely different player from last year, just physically. He's gotten in much better shape. He's healthy now. And I heard some good things coming out of practice today that sounded really encouraging. Chase Smith has impressed early on with something he's always done really well since he's arrived at Miami, just passing lanes in terms of dropping in his zone. He's done very well in that in terms of the 7-on-7 portions of practice. Cam Pruitt, like I shared from before spring, full move to linebacker, less of pseudo nickel / safety. Some of that stuff he was doing last year. He's put on more size. He's competing as an outside linebacker with Kamal Bonner. I think a guy to keep an eye on this year is Kellen Wiley, just from a physical standpoint. He can play some Mike. He can play some outside linebacker as well. He's going to be competing a lot with a guy like Chase Smith this spring to potentially get more snaps going into this season. And another guy in particular, I spoke about the true freshman linebackers the other day, but one I want to talk about in particular because I didn't even recognize him the first day because it wasn't even marked on the roster. But Ezekiel Marcelin switched his number from 54 to 17. And he's also reshaped his body a little better, too. He's in better shape now. I know he's not the tallest or biggest linebacker, but definitely more compactly built. I guess I don't want to say the frame is exactly like a Denzel Perryman, but he's like a shorter, stockier linebacker, but just built solidly well and can run at least downhill. Really impressive in that aspect. So just light stuff there. And Brett, any other thoughts before I get to this portion of defensive backs?
No, I think you're covering it well there, Gio. You're on a roll.
So defensive back wise, Xavier Lucas, very good. Very, very, very good through the early portion of camp. OJ Frederic is in phenomenal shape right now. I'll put it to you this way. OJ Frederic and Damari Brown look like true NFL cornerbacks from a just physical standpoint. They're built very well. I know I mentioned day one that Ethan O'Connor had some up and downs. I was told day two is better. Some things I want to mention here about the cornerbacks. I'm not entirely sure where Chris Ewald is going to play, but this is a guy that I've talked about since last year. Mentioned to some people today. I mentioned it on day one as well. I don't think Chris Ewald gets talked about enough. I really don't think he does. He has the ability to play as a corner, can play some safety, can play some nickel. I don't know exactly where he's going to fit in at, but Chris Ewald can absolutely play. He can absolutely play. He's had really good reps early on through camp. He's even gotten some looks with the ones at times as well. Just not sure where he fits in right now, but he is a good player. He is a good player, and I think I would like to see Miami get him involved in some type of ways this year. And this is not just a now thing. I've talked about this even with Amon since last season, that Chris Ewald was a young player that was really, really promising. And I think that light is starting to turn on more now. And Jabari Antoine, really good reps today too. Jalen Waters, I think just from like a size standpoint, like it's all built really well there. He's long, physical, built well at this stage. He's about almost 190 pounds already, just as a true freshman. But the guy who stole the show for day two, another true freshman, Jontavius Wyman, early on in the viewing portion, had an interception, broke up a couple other passes as well. The only thing that could stop Jontavius Wyman from seeing more of the field is that he has to put on more weight. He's on much lighter side compared to the other cornerbacks, but he has the frame to do so. And the safeties, Bryce Fitzgerald, from just a pure movement standpoint, very smooth, fluid, has put on muscle since last year. Zachariah Poyser has done really well in terms of like over the middle type of coverage, going up against tight ends. Some of the run fits that they've done early on that I've been told, no contact yet. But everyone should know from this past season that Zachariah Poyser is a good safety, and really excited about what those two can bring to the table. But Brett, I think Miami's got a great situation on their hands though, because Omar Thornton can play, Conrad Hussey can play, and so can the true freshman James J.J. Dunnigan Jr. can play. And I know all the hype has been behind guys like Jackson Cantwell and Gavin Mueller and Samarian Wingo, but James Dunnigan, outside of Cantwell, of that group of the offensive side, he could have the biggest impact of any true freshman on the team this year. He is that good. You're talking about a kid that is 6'3", over 195 pounds. He could run It's been timed at a 4-4, from what I've been told.
Wow.
Can hit, can cover, and the way just what people have to watch the drills of him from the first 2 days. And I had a former player mention this to me just today, actually, that he told me, he said specifically, watch how he flips his hips in the drill. It's just effortless. And it's something that you don't naturally see for guys that are defensive backs that are like bigger stature, that they're like 6'3", almost 200 something pounds. You don't naturally see that. Those are more like these special athletes. I know someone asked the question here that, oh, can JJ Dunnigan be a superstar this year? I'm not going to jump out to say a superstar, because for him to be a superstar, he would have to be like a first team All-American out of the gate. And I think that'll be difficult because of how deep the room is. But he's absolutely going to play. He's going to play big snaps this year, as long as like there's no injury or anything. Brett, this guy is further ahead of the curve than Bryce Fitzgerald was when he arrived in fall camp last year. So this guy's going to have a whole spring and fall camp, and he's been here since the playoff practices. He's going to factor in this year.
He's definitely in the rotation right now, you're saying.
Yeah, he can play multiple positions. He's that good. He can play safety. He could play corner if they need him to. They don't need him to play corner. He could play nickel. I'm just curious how they're going to get him on the field. Like they have a good situation on their hands, because they have about, let's see, to me, they have 5 guys in that safety room right now, in my opinion, that can absolutely play. And these 5 guys could start almost anywhere, in my opinion. So I think that also helps with the situation of the nickel position, where I think Conrad Hussey is a very natural fit to play nickel. JJ Dunnigan can do that too. Even Clinton Portis' son, Camden Portis, I spoke with someone about him just over the past couple of days, and they kind of liked what they saw from him early on. He's built pretty well at this stage. You would think so, considering who his father is, and just like the effort that's put in and the emphasis. But just really promising stuff overall with the defensive back room. And I spoke about the cornerbacks, and I gave Chris Ewald his flowers. I do think that people are tremendously sleeping on Chris Ewald, but JJ Dunnigan is, I think he's a special talent, Brett. I'm just curious how they balance all of this, because there's also been some discourse on a guy like Omar Thornton throughout this offseason. There's been people questioning, oh, can he cover? Can he do this? People are saying, I don't know if he could cover or whatnot. I've heard on the contrary that he can, actually. Hearing some things coming out of the private portions that he's really impressed. He's capable of playing as like a box safety, playing some nickel. Conrad Hussey could play both safety spots. He could play some nickel as well. It's just a really good situation overall. And I didn't even talk about Dylan Day, who's been a really good special teams player for Miami throughout his first 2 years. And again, just that room is deep. The deepest I've seen the safety room at Miami since, I would have to say, since Kenny Phillips and Brandon Merriweather, since those guys were around. Because, back then they had a freshman in Anthony Reddick. Anthony Reddick was phenomenal talent early on in his career before some unfortunate injuries, but they had safety talent back then. They had Greg 3 and everything. They had multiple guys that could actually play in that room back then. I think this is the deepest safety room Miami's had since at least that era.
So with all these cornerbacks and safeties and the D-backs being so solid, do you think on some passing situations we could see 6 defensive backs?
Oh, absolutely. Miami did deploy some of those type of packages last year.
That'd be like the dime package, right? With 6 defensive.
Yeah, some fans didn't even notice it last year, but there was times they even shifted OJ Frederic inside as like a nickel corner, and like Keontae was on the other side, and then they would have like Xavier Lucas and like Ethan O'Connor out there, or Damari Brown, and it was 6 DBs on the field.
We know obviously in that position there seems injuries are always a concern, but it's nice to have all that extra juice there, and that we can go ahead and, if we're healthy the whole year, which would be phenomenal, and they're just battling every practice to see who gets on the field.
Yeah, I'm just curious how they're going to balance it, because they have, like, it's not even just the safety room. They have young corners that can actually play, like Jabari Antoine. He can play. Chris
Wow.
Ewald, he could play. Chris Ewald can play multiple positions. He could play some corner. He could play some safety. He can play some nickel. Even Jalen Waters, he has the ability right now to play early. Like, just like the physicality that's required at this level, he can do it. So I don't know, man. It's gonna. I don't want to predict who's gonna start or not. The cornerback room will probably be the same, where they're gonna have those top 4 guys rotating naturally. I hope they give some looks to guys like Jabari Antoine and Chris Ewald throughout the year. I think they definitely deserve it. I think those guys are good enough to play. But just the safety room, what a logjam there. We got to see how that all figures out. Some of those guys will play some nickel. Some will play some safety too. Bryce Fitzgerald could play some nickel if they really wanted him to, but they want to keep him more as a free safety. So
right now, if
really
start, who would be and I know they fluctuate. Who would be the 4 starters?
All right, so I'll go with this. I think the cornerback room will be your co-starters, like you saw last year, where you'll have like Xavier Lucas and Damari Brown and OJ Frederick and Ethan O'Connor. Those will be your corners. They'll rotate. I hope Chris Ewald and Jabari Antoine will play at some points in some games or whatnot, because I think they're good enough. But I think that's how that'll shake out. Now, safety, I think naturally I would expect it to be Zachariah Poyser. He's, at least from a physicality standpoint, like it's him and Omar Thornton, like as like true setting the tone enforcers on the back end. So I think you'll see Zachariah Poyser, because they have a lot of trust in him in terms of running defense and making calls on the back end. Zachariah Poyser and Bryce Fitzgerald. And I think the nickel, early on at least, I think the nickel will be Omar Thornton because of the experience he has. And they'll have like Conrad Hussey and J.J. Dunnigan rotating between some safety and some nickel their own selves as well, in my opinion. I think they're both going to see heavy snaps. Maybe they don't start. They're going to play a lot, especially Dunnigan. Brett, the only thing stopping that kid from playing this year is an injury. He's that good.
Not exciting to see him. 6'3", 195, you said, right?
Yeah, 6'3", over 195 pounds, verified 4'4". Brett, this kid's a phenomenal.
And he's what, 18 years old?
18 years old. His dad is super football guy. His dad actually played college football I think he had played at Kansas State, from what I recall. Yeah.
All right. Well, great stuff. I'm excited. Guys, remember, we're going to get to your questions and comments in a minute. Remember to like and subscribe to the program, today's show, if you're enjoying it, which we hope you are, and subscribe to our new CanesWear TV. Lots of things happening on the network, as you know. We're going to be doing a lot of cool things. Remember also the new CanesWear mobile app, where we have the CanesWear news all the time being updated by Geo, and may have other guest writers as well. Go ahead and download that when you get a chance on your Apple or Google stores, and that's CanesWear.com on the mobile app. You get the news feature and some other things as well. Notifications will be there, and quizzes, etc. And of course, CanesWear and Davie, the spot, Miami fan shop for all your local South Florida sports needs. Gio, anything to add before we get to any questions and comments? I see they're
I'm just excited that spring football is here.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to get better once the pads come on, because once the pads come on, that's where guys really start to separate themselves. The real ones and the pretenders start being separated, like who's truly ready and who may need more time to bake in the oven. I
just love when, you're playing a championship game. Spring comes so much faster.
Oh, yeah.
It's right around the corner, and then the season. So everything is put into hyper gear the further we go in the season. So
No, the lovely thing about it was they got to start spring later this year because of how far they went into the season.
mhm,
Usually they start spring practice for Miami. It's always been for years since I've been covering it. They have it the week before they go on spring break,
mhm.
according to their academic calendar. Then they have spring break, they're off a week, and then they come back again. Now they did it where no, they started spring practice after spring break is over, which I actually prefer that. You kind of keep the
Mhm.
team focused and everything. There's no break in between. It's all one straight shot through.
Exactly. Mhm. No,
So
so all good this year. We're pumped to be. We're always pumped to be Canes fans, but this year it's the candy store right now. We're excited as can be. We're eating it up.
So let's get to some questions here. Oh man, Juan Manuel was here since like over 40 minutes before the show started.
We love one man. He keeps
Gio
us
Brett,
warm.
he said Gio Brett and Mondo, shh, quiet, top secret. JJ Dunnigan for Heisman. The hype is real. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds. He's bigger and faster than listed. Nobody saw this coming. He starts to safety. I don't want to say that no one saw it coming. I mean, he's definitely a bit better than I was expecting for like when spring started. But if you've been listening, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's mentioned this, there's other people that are close to the program that I'm sure have mentioned this since the playoff practices. But there was 3 guys I specifically brought up all the time during those practices during the playoff run. It was Jackson Cantwell, Samarian Wingo, and JJ Dunnigan were all guys I continuously brought up that really stood out early on. So I don't think it's necessarily like surprising, but I think what's caught some people by surprise is maybe how ready he is to play out of the gate. Maybe that part. Juan Manuel, the nickel is to be figured out by Thorin Fisher and the kid from Shaman, who's freshman to cover Tony. Yeah, you're talking about Chris Ewald. Yeah, Chris Ewald can play some corner, can play some nickel, can play some safety. So far, from what I've been told, that Fitzgerald's been more like specifically at safety. So Juan Manuel again, man, he dropped a whole bunch of questions before we started. Hi, Gio Brett. What it's going to be alive and be a Canes fan. I didn't think I would live to see Miami loaded again like this. Speak on the 105 roster limit rule and Miami's retention game. I think Miami did a good job of retaining talent. I think they kept the core nucleus of guys. They got some guys to come back, key guys like Ahmad Houghton coming back this year, Mark Fletcher coming back. Those are key pieces to this season. Keeping your most productive players too and everything. I think if there was any upsetting thing, they lost JoJo Trader once the word got out that Cooper Barkate was coming to Miami, but that's the deals that you trade in this big day in college football now. It's just how it is. Once that made the rounds, the writing was kind of on the wall that they were moving on. So Juan Manuel, hey, it's Miss Hudson and Big Bill up here in Chapel Hill. Big Bill wants to know how the U became such a potent player in NIL and FSU imploded. Big Bill wants what Mario has. Does he do couples parties? All right. So on the question about NIL and with FSU, from what I understand, because I have a few buddies that actually cover FSU pretty regularly, just not a lot of funds, number one. Number two, they've also allocated funds into the wrong areas. So this is one thing I always brought up on this show. I know plenty of people watch this show over the past 2 years when I've done shows with Brett and with Amon, and even when I've gone on with Dono or Michael Yo. I always say this, that when people have brought up the questions of, oh, what about the special football operations facility, that was in the plans and everything. That's still in the pipeline for Miami. But this came directly down from athletic development at Miami that they never wanted to be in the position of a school like Pittsburgh or even what you're seeing with Florida State, that they are so strapped for cash because of how much they put down in terms of facilities. Like, for example, Florida State did a whole bunch of stadium renovations recently. That was totally unnecessary. The arms race in college football now is no longer facilities. It's no longer, oh, do you have the prettiest indoor practice facility? Do you have a stadium on campus or whatever? The kids absolutely do not care about that anymore. The only thing the kids care about now is, where do I sign on the dotted line? How much am I making each year? Who's coaching me? And how much am I going to be developed? That's it. Those three things. There's nothing
That's
else.
interesting because a lot, it's like everyone thinks, oh, we have a better stadium than you. We obviously here they're playing. I've been in those stadiums, and they're hot, they're sweaty. There's no amenities at all. You come to our stadium, I mean, it is. And granted, we don't sell out for. We only sell out for big games, but it is one of the state-of-the-art stadiums in the whole NFL, in anywhere, especially in college, that they're playing national championship games and Super Bowls there. And it's loud. And the stadium has an advantage with the corners and the vibrations that if we pack that stadium, we have as big as a home field advantage as anybody in college football.
Yeah. So Hassan, thank you for stopping by as always. Hassan, he said, what a great night to spend with the best guys in the business. The great Gio, Brett, and Mondo when he's around and the lights are not turned off at his house.
Yes. Mondo is a spring break right now, so Mondo will be back next week, he told me. But you're right. The lights were so dark you couldn't even see, so we had to take them off. He's there, really.
Mini Counter 305. Hey, Gio and Brett. I have a question. Nick Lanier and Amir Sears, there's a lot of barking and biting on the field. Do you think Mario will let the South Florida Dogs bark and bite at the Yeah. He lets the players be who they are. It's not like any of that. For example, I know a coach that used to try to do that used to try to rein in players and how they are was Al Gold, and even Manny Diaz did some of that as well. But no, Mario lets the guys be how they are. So if a guy's more reserved, they're more reserved. Like, for example, Ruben Bain. I've had the chance to interact with Ruben Bain several times since he was in high school. He's a very reserved, chill guy in person. But on the field, a totally different monster comes out. So.
No, you see a lot of guys think that Ruben Bain is a sweetheart. Francis is a sweetheart. These guys are they're not the same people on the field. They can turn it on and turn it off, which is amazing.
It's funny. I remember Ruben Bain told me that he came to an office I was working at some years ago, and he told me, he's like, like he mentioned that it's kind of like turning on a light switch. Like he just feels like a different person once he's between those lines.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It's like they become different. It's amazing that they can do that. How they can turn it on and turn it off.
Hassan shared here, and Canes family, subscribe and smash the like button so we can keep these guys forever with us. Yes. Hit subscribe, like
all the great comments. Thank you. Hit
subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe to the new channel, by the way. There is a new channel. It's youtube.com/CanesWear. We need to continue getting those numbers up. It's a brand new channel there for this specific show. Let's see here. Mullet TV. Duck is here, everybody. Hey,
Duck was here. Duck is here 1 hour ago. Let's see if he's still here.
Duck, I know you'll probably have the question at some point. Can Miami run the ball this year? I think the question should become, can they not?
Great point. I like it.
Jacoby Graggs, go Canes. Smash that like button. Yes, smash the like button.
Smash it.
Well, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Grow the channel. Hassan. Gio, everyone is saying that JJ Dunnigan is not just a star, but he's a superstar. Do you agree with that same? So, yeah, that was what I was alluding to earlier. I wouldn't say superstar yet because it's so early on, but can he be a star this year? Yeah, absolutely. He has the ability to.
Now, is he a 4-star, Dunnigan?
Yeah, he was a 4-star, top 100 guy. He was a late pickup for Miami, actually. Jacoby Graggs, put it back at linebacker. Yep, mentioned that day one. Money counter, Gio and Brett, based on how slow the offense was moving on the final drive in the championship, do you think Dawson will practice a more fast-paced offense during the season? I do think there would be a little bit more tempo this year, and that has to do with how Mensa plays and just the personnel that they have at receiver this year too.
I mean, it wasn't the best timing wise drive, but we had plenty of time still to take it down. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest drive, but he didn't have to go for it. We all know he didn't have to go for it all in that play. And I mean, it's easy to get 2, 3 plays, get 30, 40 yards. So unfortunately, it just didn't happen for us. But I'd like to see a more fast tempo.
Hurricane Jimmy, thank you for stopping by. Hey, Mr. Brett, do you have any blacked out car decals?
I don't think we have any now, but I think we have more. We have a lot of decals and everything come in. I'm just going to scan right now to see if there's any while we're here. But I don't think there's a blackout decal, but we will be getting more in for the season. Let me just see while you're looking at it. I'll bring it up if we do, Gio.
So Juan Manuel shared here. Can Vandrevius Jacobs hit 1,000 yards? He will have a few games. He goes 3 catches, 150 yards, a monster 70-yard, 60-yard type plays. Because A, skill and speed of Mensah and Jacob. B, Tony and Barkett are going to be the focus defensively. Yeah, I don't know if I want to say 1,000 yards, but I do think just like that yard per catch average, I definitely think it could be very impressive. The other thing I want to mention too, I shared this day one, and I don't want this to get lost in translation here about Vandrevius Jacobs. He can make plays underneath as well. He's not just a one-trick pony that he just goes downfield. Like, he can work in the quick game as well. So, but I don't know if I want to say 1,000 yards for him, but I do think fans are going to love him, though. Mr. Hey, good evening, boys. Thank you, Mr. Hey, for stopping by. He said, Brett, sponge-worthy.
Mr. Hey and I go back and forth with some Seinfeldisms. Thank you. I was just saying that to my sons to go ahead and explain to them some things earlier about the trials of dating.
So Money Counter shared here. Gio, after reading different comment went off for a second. Gio,
I know. That's weird. Can you see it, or did I touch it accidentally? You hit it, Gio.
There you go. I got it up now. Money Counter said, Gio, after reading different interviews of top corners we are after, they all state they want to see who the coach will be. Do you believe this situation will hurt us with the top of the board this year? No, I don't think so. And one explanation why, too. Spoke with a couple of local coaches, and they expect Terry Jefferson to be the cornerback coach. Now, if that's what transpires, we'll see. You know, Mario has said differently that, you know, it's still kind of going through a process with that. We'll see. But plenty of local coaches think that Jefferson's the guy. So, Mr. Hey, Benny and Brian Blades said, hello. Sorry you cannot make QD night next week.
I would have liked to make it to Quarter Deck today. Hopefully next week. Always great to see Benny and Brian, two of the all-time great Canes. Mr. Hey is good friends with them. So next time, tell Brian and Benny I say hello. Look forward to seeing them soon.
Jacoby Greggs. Dawson said today 5 to 6 rotation this year. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. I think a healthy rotation of 5 to 6 guys playing at receivers, really good. Matthew Gittleman said, let's go. Absolutely, let's go.
Let's go, Matthew. Let's go, Canes.
Juan Manuel, Gio and Brett, remember 2019 LSU offense, what made it so unstoppable was that they had too many consistent weapons. Chase Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Moss the tight end, and running back was a Pringle, like overwhelmed defenses. Yeah, I just think it was the perfect storm.
Correct.
I don't know if anyone's going to match that exactly. Maybe it happens in the future. Hey, maybe it's Miami, but I don't want to bet the house on that you know, Miami does those type of numbers or whatever. I think that's very difficult.
You had great athletes with a all-time great college football quarterback that just had the year of years. And that's it. You know, he was, you know, a lot of teams do very good. The USCs, when they had played ball, but they don't have the star quarterback as well. They did have the star quarterback, and that with the star talent, it was, like you said, the perfect storm.
Yeah. So Heart of Sports said here, Jacoby Braggs, it's got to at least be 7. Malachi Tony, Cooper Barkett, Joshua Moore, Vandrevius Jacobs, Cam Vaughn, Vance Spafford, Dalen Opshaw. I think you're forgetting one there. I think it's going to be a really tough situation. You didn't even mention Samorian Wingo in there.
Oh,
So
Samario Wingo in there too. Yeah,
yeah,
he's obviously. Is Samario Wingo ahead of Vaughn or Spafford or Upshaw right now? Or Upshaw's running?
So I know a lot of the guys that are getting like the reps with the top group when they've gone outside is mostly like Malachi, Cooper Barkey, Jacobs, and Vaughn. Those have been the ones getting a lot of reps with the top group. So we'll see. But I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to say no Wingo there, at least in that top six. I think he's going to play this year. But
That is so deep if you think about it. Remember a few years ago we had all those magic freshmen. When Restrepo was a freshman, and we had three other guys who were like the four. I forgot, Four Horsemen may have been their name. And you know, you where are any of them now? I mean, obviously none of them stuck except for Restrepo with us. But hopefully that's not the case this time. But we are stacked.
Oh, Heart of Sports said and Wingo. I forgot, but he's probably top five. I agree with you, Heart of Sports.
Heart of Sports. Thank you for joining the show.
Juan Manuel said, hot take. Miami may be better on both offense and defense at 26 and will give Brett deja vu of the 86 team, which is so bittersweet.
Yeah, that 86 team was bittersweet. It was possibly the greatest team of all time that didn't win. The 87 team was phenomenal on there as well. I think Benny and Brian were both on that 86 team, actually. They were on the 87 team. So I think they were on 86 and 87, both the Blades brothers. But that team with Jerome Brown, the Fatigues, the Penn State, and unfortunately, Vinny did not have his best game, or we have another national championship that year.
Let's see, I think EJ liked my comment that I said about Jackson Cantwell, baptism by fire. Yep.
Absolutely. I'm excited about Jackson.
He also asked here, possible we go 2 true freshmen at tackle with Ben Congdon? Yeah, here's the thing. Congdon has definitely surprised some people, like even before spring started. I mentioned it before spring started that he was a little further along than people were anticipating. But I don't know. I don't think that he would start, to be honest. I think, if anything, if you don't see Matthew McCoy starting as the other tackle, I think one of the first guys you'll see is probably like Jaden Wilkerson potentially getting a shot out there. Maybe even Max Buchanan. I mentioned this before, that Max Buchanan, he's cross-trained at a lot of positions since he's arrived at Miami. He's done guard, he's done center, he's done some right tackle. So, again, Max Buchanan is a guy that I have a lot of stock in this year.
I love the name Max Buchanan. Reminds me of the old Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. His haircut's even better, even his attitude. I remember when he was coming in, Brett, I was talking with the kid at Hard Rock Stadium after the games. He's got a great mindset. I think he's going to be one of those fan favorites when you start hearing him in interviews.
All right. We'd like to hear it. We'll have to have these guys on the show.
Juan Manuel, hey, Jew and Brett. Israel Briggs, Jontavius Wyman, Mylan Paris, and Cam Pruitt, Armando Blunt may surprise or shock you in the fall. If each gained 10 pounds, more pounds will be different players. I don't think necessarily for Blunt or I mean, the other guys, I think Mylan Paris's frame is fine right now. He could obviously still get a little bit bigger and stronger, but for guys like Briggs and Wyman, yeah, I think it'll go a long way for those two specifically, just putting on more size. Jontavius Wyman's got tremendous ball skills for playing corner right now. Just as a true freshman, it's really impressive. Let's see. EJ, I would love Pancake and McCoy at guard with Ryan at center. That experience in the middle is key. Experience is very important. Yeah. Racing Kane said, can we run 6 wide receivers? Yeah. Hey, who knows? The 6 wide receiver set. No. That'd be fun.
That's quite a few, but that would be very tough to cover.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to get rid of an offensive lineman to be able to do that. But let's see. EJ, best ability is availability. Absolutely. Juan Manuel, Ben Congdon may beat out Matt. I don't know if he'll beat out McCoy. His experience is on the inside of guard. Ben may just be a better player. It may cause Max Buchanan to challenge Rodriguez. Not actually. Max can anchor at center as well. Yeah, Max can play center if needed. EJ, Damari Brown, same thing. Absolutely, you're right, EJ. Juan Manuel, Racing Kane. Miami goes 8 deep at receiver. Yeah, I think Miami's got tremendous depth there. I think at minimum 8 of those guys could actually play and help in games, but it's very tough to play 8 in all these games.
We're going to have to, if we can blow out teams in the first half, we can get everybody in.
Yeah.
And now if they can go 9 games without a red shirt, it's spectacular.
EJ shared here. I want to see Luka Gilbert. Yeah. He got some quality reps during the playoffs. He's one of the best inline blockers, if not the best in the room right now at tight end. So they value that. Juan Manuel, Gabby and David Lake think Bonner looks pretty. What? What, that he looks like in good shape right now or something? I'm not sure what you mean by pretty.
I don't know. With all the Bill and Kate, anyway.
Let's see. EJ said we got 4 starting cornerbacks. Yes, they do.
I mean, this is the most deep team we've had in a long time.
Juan Manuel said here, Gio and Brett, please never describe players as looking pretty. Okay. So I'm guessing that's what you mean, that he, I've mentioned that since day one, but I see why the coaches are excited about what Bonner could be this year. Mm-hmm. He's in great, phenomenal shape right now. He's even got a new number, too. He's wearing 11. Money Counter 305. Gio and Brett, do you guys think that Coach Heatherman can take us to an elite top 5 defense with the talent we have in that room? I think, it depends on what you consider Miami's defense last year. I think
where were we last year? Where were we ranked last year?
It was different. Like, they were in the top 10 for a bunch of categories, but some teams were a little higher. Some teams didn't play the exact same schedules and whatnot. You ask me, in my opinion, Miami was a top 5 defense last year. Absolutely.
My goal, the only thing that matters is the scoring defense. The scoring defense is the key. I mean, you could be a top 1 defense, but give up some big plays. We've given up big plays in the past. So obviously we're losing a few guys this year, but I think we got a shot at being top 5. If we're top 5 scoring, that'll be unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's see here. Money Counter said, Gio and Brett, do you guys think that Coach Heatherman can take us to an elite top 5 defense with the talent we have in that?
We just said
we spoke about that. Yeah. EJ said, Bryce, a free safety, plays are strong safety, Thorne. Yeah. He's a heritage DB. They can play DB. Yep. D-Briz. Thank you for stopping by, D-Briz. He's
Thank you.
Heavily in the X space. He said here, surprised to see that Keanu Davis is listed at 255. Beyond Justin Scott and Moulton were real light. Well, no, Jarquez Carter has put on some size since he arrived here. But in terms of Keanu Davis, he was never super heavy at Nebraska to begin with. I know he was like 270 range. Are you sure 255 is accurate? Because he does not look 255 in person. He looks pretty big, actually. He's got to be hovering 290 around now, like around that range. Mm-hmm. Howard Stern, who looked good today in shorts? Time to put the pads. Yeah, so we already spoke about all that earlier about who looked good and impressed. Money Counter, Gio and Brett. JJ Dunnigan has a little brother, class of 2029. Coach Harris has already offered. Got to make the Dunnigans Kane lifers. Yes, so you're talking about Adonis Dunnigan. Yeah, they say
a great name, Adonis Dunnigan.
Yeah, they're saying. I've seen some of the posts that the father shared that the locals there in the area have shared about the younger brother, that they think he could be a phenomenal receiver. Howard Stern, thank you for stopping by, Howard Stern. Ethan O'Connor is going to get passed over by week 5. He's still looking the other way on Mendoza's passes right now. That was a tough game for him, but I'm going to go in a little defense mode here. Ethan O'Connor had a very key play in that game against Texas A&M that if he didn't tackle Casey Concepcion on a drag route on that last drive from A&M, Miami may not win that game. So I'm not going to dog him. Juan Manuel, JJ Dunnigan is sounding eerily like Sean Taylor. I remember the summer Sean Taylor in 2001. Taylor showed up at 6'3", 216. Dunnigan is 6'3", over 200, or 280 pounds. Taylor played multi-position in prep. I don't know if I want to compare him to Sean Taylor now. That's lofty expectations and everything, but JJ Dunnigan is a special talent. He is. Howard Stern, JJ Dunnigan getting a lot of hype. So was Dylan Day 2 years ago. No, but Dylan Day was not like this when he arrived, though. This kid is much more advanced. Dylan Day wasn't even anywhere close.
Really?
To pounds back then. Yeah, Dylan Day was like 180 something pounds when he arrived. He wasn't.
Are we thinking that JJ is that good because of the spring practice, or we knew it before?
There was a lot of discussion about it even before spring practice started. He's one of the 3 freshmen I mentioned during the playoff practices that the coaches were super impressed with.
Really? And we got him late, right?
Yeah, he was a late pickup in the class.
Awesome.
Let's see here. Juan Manuel, Dunnigan should naturally start in the Thomas role. Some people have compared him to Thomas, like similar frames, but like I've said before, he's much more athletic and he's faster too. Juan Manuel, you're late. Dylan Day never got nowhere near this hype. He was a 3-star. We thought, yes, correct. Howard Stern, I know I was playing pickleball. I remember Dylan Day getting some hype like this 2 years ago, but when the pads came on, different story. It wasn't like that though, Howard. I'll be honest. Let's see, Racing Cane. Pretty sure you can only run 5 wide sets, but yeah, we deep for sure. Racing Cane. That's why I said you want to run a 6 receiver set. You're gonna have to take a lineman off the field, and I don't think Mario would be cool with that, trying to create trick plays like that. Hassan, Gio, hearing that JJ Dunnigan brother is a good player also, and I saw that Miami. Yes, so we already talked about that. Canes Jones, thank you for stopping by as always. Good evening, guys. And CWF CanesWear fans, look at Gio with the in-depth and great detail of Corey's 426 package. Yes, actually did kind of detail that. I see 9,900 million people watching the show, but only 99 likes. Hit and subscribe for the late night crew. Go Canes. Thank you, Canes
Jones. That's right. We're only at 999,000. Wow. Thought it was high.
Howard Stern. Bell should have stayed. Terrible decision by him. He'll be a security guard at Club 11 in 2 years. I mean, I do think it would have been wise for him to stay an extra year.
Mm-hmm.
All he had to do was apply for the waiver, and it's like everyone's getting the waiver now.
Yes, everyone.
Go Kids, but that was originally the plan, that he was going to get the waiver and come back another year. He decided to jump to the NFL. It is what it is. Juan Manuel said, Bell can still sue. The guy from Oklahoma is suing for a 6-year guy who went to the Senior Bowl and draft. Oh, wow.
Really? Well, where is he going to go in the draft, Bell? 4th round?
I think at best 4th round.
Okay, so 4th round.
He still needed 1 more year. He needed a little more tape.
So can he still? He's got an agent, but guys are coming from the NBA to back to college basketball, the NCAA. So why can't Bell come back if he wants to, if he's not ready?
Yeah. Howard Stern said, money talks, and Florida State has none of it, so they can't talk. They're like a broke man at a strip club. Nobody's paying them any attention.
Reminds me of my days when I was broke going a highlight when I was like 18 years old. Should I buy the Tootsie Roll or can I get a bet here?
Highlight, wow. Yeah.
Old days.
Howard Stern, my parents told me about that, just like how big it was.
Yeah. They were awesome times.
Howard Stern said, Gio, serious, word on the street is Mark Matthews might be heading out of state. A lot of talk around this. I'm not worried. Wake me up in July.
We're okay.
Wake me up in July. There's so much discourse that's going to be talked about with recruiting. Eddie Delva, Mario will let the guys be. Look at Ethan O'Connor constantly running his mouth. Yeah, very true. Howard Stern, Alex Mirabal and Mike Vitti, tight ends got to be shorter than Mini-Me from Austin Powers. They are some tiny coaches. I wouldn't say Mike Vitti's tiny. Hey, but you know what? People always joke about Coach Mirabal's height or his stature, but his offensive linemen respect him. Mm-hmm. They absolutely do. Chris Brown B7H. Man, Howard, where you be getting your information from? They taking you for a ride. Let's see. Howard Stern. Gio, is it true Donna Shalala and Paul Damari got caught banging at the Heck Center by Art Kehoe, and that's what they fired him? Oh, I don't know about that story.
Wow, that's one that's one for an investigative reporter.
I did run into Art some time ago, a couple of months ago. So I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him. Howard Stern said here, we got wide receivers that can spread the field. We didn't have that last year. Agreed. You're going to see a rocket explosive offense this year. Watch 50 points. I don't know about 50 points a game. That's really lofty.
That would be amazing.
Would you, Howard Stern, would you settle for kind of like how the Ward offense was, how they basically were like over 40 points a game average? Mr. Jake, good evening, Gio and Brett. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. Jake. I'm a little late to the party, though. How's Buchanan looking? Very good. Very good early on, but obviously you want Paz to come on as well to get an even better look at it. I'm expecting a breakout year for him this year. Me too. Jose Gonzalez, thank you for stopping by, Jose. The 2019 LSU team had an incredible O-line also. Their QB never had to get his jersey washed because it stayed clean. You're absolutely correct.
That's a great point. You look at you look at Dorsey on that 2000 and 2001 team, 2002. They were up all the time. They rarely ever went down.
Yeah, let's see. David Bryce says, Bryce K. Davis listed at 255, real light at DT beyond Scott. So I already answered that question earlier. David Bray also said, people sleeping on SJ in the rotation at guard. Yeah, SJ has cross-trained. SJ Alafatuli, he's cross-trained at center and guard since he's arrived. But some of that is because some guys are nicked up right now or whatever. He's really supposed to be competing more at center, but we'll see. David Bray, hope they give Wyman a shot at punt return. Yeah, he's a really good return man if you watch his high school tape.
I am very excited about the special teams this year. I think it's about time that we take over as one of the great special team units in the country. We were for years. I
agree. It's a staple.
Returning kicks. We got to get back to that.
Yeah, that's a staple of Miami Hurricane football special teams.
And it is all about coaching because look at Virginia Tech. They always had a great special teams unit. Other teams have great. If a team puts an emphasis in there and they really care about it, they can make it happen. And that might as well be us this year. We win a national championship if we can have a top 3 special teams this year.
Howard Stern shared here, I heard Justin Scott is destroying people out there. Well, it depends on your definition of destroying people. So because contact is limited, but in terms of like his pass rush ability, I've mentioned this before, he is the most gifted pass rusher of all the interior linemen on the roster. His first step is lightning quick. Hassan, Gio, we hear a lot about other players, but not much about Bryson Wright. Is Miami still one of his favorites? Yes, Miami's absolutely in the mix for Bryson Wright. I've mentioned this before. He's someone that I'm closely watching. I've said this for over a year. If he may reclassify to 2027, we'll see.
All right.
Howard Stern, would Cormani McClain start at Miami right now? No, he'd be a co-starter. I think Cormani McClain has turned the corner with his career. I think he's a talented player. You saw that last season, but he wouldn't be head and shoulders above any of the other corners on Miami's roster right now. So I think it worked out for both sides. Manuel said K. Davis 298. That was his senior year of high school. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Keona Davis is nowhere even close to 250. He's much bigger. Juan Manuel, no. Howard Stern, Komani isn't consistent and lack of tackling would put him competing for fourth corner versus O'Connor. Juan Manuel, Max Buchanan is your most talented center. Yes and no, maybe, because the thing is, Ryan Rodriguez has a ton of experience within the program as well. So I think you just got to let that competition play itself out. Let's see here. Art of Sports, he might start opposite of Lucas, but he'd have to compete with OJ. It wouldn't be a guarantee. Absolutely agreed. Heart of Sports, facts, Max should get a good look at center. Howard Stern said, I hate John Summerall. Yeah. And then Howard Stern said, Gio, I heard a lot of recruits are visiting this weekend. Do you see any commitments coming this weekend? None specifically. One guy I am watching very closely is Andre Hippolyte from North Miami Beach. I know he came really close to committing during 305 day, like very, very close. So I think there's a chance that he could possibly pull the trigger soon. Anyone else I would put in that category right now? I'd have to think that over a little more, but he's the one I'd kind of put in that category right now that could potentially commit soon, based on what I know. But Marley Bell, thank you for stopping by. He said, "Is Miami still in the running for Joshua Dobson?" Yeah, he's expected to visit this spring. It's supposed to be in April. That's the 5-star corner from the Carolinas. One man, well, 93.79. Hey, such a strong word for John Summerall. Feel a girlfriend or two.
Or two. Yes, Howard Stern is not like John Summerall. That's for sure.
So, thank you everyone for stopping by. We got through a ton of questions here. We dropped some nuggets from the first 2 days. A few things. A quick heads up. Saturday, there is practice. As long as it is going to be open. As long as it's going to be open, I will be there, and I will be joining Alex Dono on Locked On Canes on Saturday. If you guys want to hear more from me and Dono will be talking about the first week of spring practice on Locked On Canes. Make sure to subscribe to the new YouTube channel that is here. It is www.youtube.com/CanesWear. It is a brand new channel. There's going to be exclusive offers coming to the live shows. There's going to be benefits for people who watch the live show. So there's a lot of incentive as well. So aside from that, though, make sure to shop at CanesWear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. You could also shop online at CanesWear.com. They do orders, shipping, and all. Brett, any closing thoughts?
Great show. Thank you to everyone for being part of it. Store-wise, just got notice in the earpiece that we will have some Malachi Tony orange and also black jerseys possibly as early as next Friday. It will be limited, but we will have Malachi Tony #1 black jerseys and orange jerseys available next Friday is our goal. So we're excited about that. People are asking about signings. I keep getting texts. So we are trying to get players in and get that to have some signings, which would be exciting. A lot of other cool things really going on. So definitely check around. Always check the site. Remember, download. If you download the app, you'll get instant notifications when things are new. We'll be popping them out. You'll get them immediately. So check those things out. Anything else? It's great to be a Canes fan right now. We're excited as can be. This is going to be our best year in a long time. So remember, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, follow the news. Gio, can they give comments on that news or not really?
No, I don't think it's open with comments right now, but I'm going to take a look at it between today and tomorrow if they can.
All right. If you have any ideas for the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us. This is your podcast. A lot of podcasts, I know they don't take questions, they don't take comments. We're trying to get as close to the old talk show radio calls as we can, where people are asking questions. So if you have comments, you have ideas for shows or anything like that, or articles, feel free. We are the People's Publishing, and the Canes fan is definitely our #1 goal right now, and always has been.
Absolutely, and I think Howard Stern had some closing thoughts. He said, "Gio, please tell Mario to have the Venezuelan and Colombian women show the recruits around, please. You can never say no to them." And then Uncle Joey seconds that.
He threw that out, Joey. All right, Gio, you can touch that one. No pun intended. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back next week probably. Gio,
yes.
We'll let you know on live reactions. Catch Gio on the with Dono and other places as well. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. It's all about the U.
Go Canes.